Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Ben Olson. With me is Nathan Fox. Together, we're the founders of LSATdemon.com and the Thinking LSAT podcast. Today, we have an email from Austin. Hey, Ben and Nathan. I'm enjoying the podcast, the Thinking LSAT podcast, and have been listening to the backlog of episodes while waiting for new episodes to drop. I apologize if this has been answered before on a previous episode, but okay. But I wanted your thoughts on the effective use of the break during the LSAT. Okay, so there's a 10-minute break between sections 1 and 2. I'm sorry. You have sections 1 and 2, then you have a 10-minute break, and then you have sections 3 and 4. And so Austin wants to know about the effective use of that break. So Austin says, are there any meditation techniques you find useful? Deep breathing techniques, a mantra or mindset to help cast away anything from the previous sections to focus on the sections to come? I'm assuming a lot of this boils down to knowing oneself and what works best for you, but I figured you all might have some great tips gleaned over the years. I've honestly not thought about the break at all. I would say go to the bathroom, come back.
Very practical advice. Yeah, I'm slightly concerned here that Austin might be like relaxing too hard. You know?
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm never gonna not go back to NyQuil Mike. Remember NyQuil Mike?
You're never not going to go back. That's a great LSAT sentence. So you're always going to go back.
I'm always going to go back to LSAT Mike, or the NyQuil Mike. That's the dude. It's from the early days of the Thinking LSAT podcast. But Mike, he followed all of our advice to a T, like too much, too. He was holding on to the steering wheel much too tightly.
Okay? He was too much of a devotee.
Well, you know how to use the driving analogy and the steering wheel analogy. You know how they teach people to 10 and 2.
Yep, 10
hands
and 2,
at
right?
10 and 2, right?
Oh, I thought you were supposed to let Jesus take the wheel.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Hands at 10 and 2, but if you see somebody holding on like this with their
White
hands
knuckled.
At 10 and 2, yeah, it's like pretty scary, right? Like nobody who's any good at driving actually drives like that. So it's like, yeah, there's like some fundamentals, and sure, I breathe. Absolutely, Austin, breathe. That's great. Or whatever. You want to rest your eyes for a little while? Great. Need to go to the bathroom? Great. Whatever, but don't, like, I don't know. Well, to go back to NyQuil Mike, he relaxed so hard. He followed all of our advice perfectly and then found that he could not sleep on the night before the test. And then ended up like drinking NyQuil at 3 a.m. to try to force himself to go to sleep, frantically emailing me in the middle of the night and like all this crazy shit. And it's like, boy, like you got so worried about not sleeping that you couldn't sleep. And so I'm detecting a little bit of that here with Austin, that it's like, well, you're so worried about perfectly relaxing that I'm worried that you might end up doing the exact opposite of that. Like if I were to give you some meditation technique, I worry that you would take it to mean like, okay, I have to perfectly do exactly what Nathan said.
I didn't get a chance to meditate for 5 minutes during the 10-minute break. So
yeah, I had to go to the bathroom. So then I only got to do 3.5 minutes of my 10-minute meditation. Oh, and then I started the third section totally on the wrong foot, right? Like that.
Yeah.
So don't do that, Austin. I don't know, like some simple advice for meditation. I've definitely heard people talking about feeling the weight of your body in the chair. Following your breath, like just basically seeing if you can follow your breath in and out for 3 breaths or 5 breaths or whatever.
Yeah. Some people count their breaths. That helps them stay focused on their breaths.
Right. Accept that there are going to be thoughts coming through your mind. The metaphor that I like for meditation is to just like, it's like clouds passing through the sky. You're not trying to do anything about it. You're just letting them go. So something comes into your mind. It's going to come into your mind, Austin. You're going to have a thing where it goes, oh, fuck, I didn't finish that last logic game. Or, oh man, that one LR question, I just have no idea what the answer was and I had to guess. Or, oh, I didn't make it through the last reading comp or whatever. Like, those thoughts are going to come into your mind. And you have to just plan that that's going to happen. And you just kind of notice it. And then you just like accept it and let it pass.
I would even say that, you can have those negative thoughts come into your mind and you can let them pass. And that's a very Zen approach. But I almost feel like you can be proactive and be like, that's bullshit. Like, you can not just let those thoughts, go. You can also just actively rebut them. Like, I
Yeah.
can do this test. This test isn't any different than any other test. I
It's
didn't
kind of
feel
like
great
that.
about that second section, but that always happens. So let's go. Let's roll.
Uh-huh.
Let's do this.
It
Next
reminds
section.
me of Luke's, what did they call that? The fourth thing of the triathlon. Like, instead of 3 parts, it's 4 parts.
It's 4 parts. Yeah.
Right. Like so Austin, you should accept in advance that those kinds of thoughts are going to come into your mind. And when they do, go, oh yeah, I knew that bullshit was going to come into my mind. Fuck that. Like, I was expecting it to not go perfectly. It's not about perfect.
Yeah.
It's about doing the best that I can, and just kind of comfortably, calmly answering as many of them as I can. And I didn't have to finish the section. It doesn't have to go perfectly. I don't have to get every single one of them right. I just have to do my best. There's nothing I can do about sections 1 and 2. I need to do my best on sections 3 and 4. And so just, let it go. I kind of, yeah, Ben, like, it's not like you can't force yourself not to think about it, but you certainly can notice that you're thinking about it and go and like sort of call it what it is, which is, oh, well, that's just bullshit, unproductive thought. Doesn't mean anything. It'll pass.
Yep.
Are you using any meditation apps these days? I keep meaning to get back into it. I've used Calm before and really liked it. I know you've used Sam Harris's Waking Up before.
No, I'm actually not using apps much these days, but interestingly, when I work out, I have about 3 minutes between each set, and I'll just sit there sometimes, and it's just like becoming aware of whatever muscles are like tight or tense, and then they'll relax. So that's my jam these days. So I get lots of focus in there, or whatever it is.
Thanks, Austin. It's going to be fine. Don't relax too hard.
Yeah. If you have a question for us, email us at daily@lsatdemon.com, and we'll try to answer it as best you can. If you have any news too about the LSAT or law school admissions, please share it. Thanks for listening.